Just a quick little PSA. We have 2 upcoming live shows. The live shows are on October 9th, 2021 for New York Comic Con, and October 17th, 2021 for DC Fandom. And both of those will be available on our profile on Spreaker if you go to bit.ly/TMRPC. Again, that's bit.ly/TMRPC. If you want to support the show, the best way you can is through any of the books or current ongoing Vela shorts that are being released on a regular basis. The easiest way to find this is to go to bit.ly/TMRbooks, and you'll have links there to everything. All of my Kindle books are available for free. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you don't have to pay anything. You get it with your subscription. You can read them all. They're all in screenplay format. That includes Swan Song, The Muses, Duet, In the End, Our Past Does Not Define Us. Anything else that I've written that's available on Kindle, it's available there. You can buy a soft cover if you want. There's a hardcover collection of all of the Swan Song books, all combined into one. That's available as a hardcover. You can pre-order Echo Alpha, which is coming out in November. All of these things are available if you go on Amazon. But, quick link, if you go bit.ly/TMRbooks, I have them all there, nice, easily cataloged. Also, down toward the bottom, we have the Kindle Vela content. The first 3 episodes are always free, and then after that, there's a token system that you can use to read. Even if you don't like it, just give it a thumbs up. That way we can get it up higher so more people see it. So one final time, that's bit.ly/TMRbooks, and every Wednesday there's a new Vela book that goes up. Taser and Acrobat, Nanite and Rosebud, Tales from Another World, and The Alchemist and the Illusionist. All go up on Wednesdays, and it's all available on Kindle Vela. All of this is available bit.ly/TMRbooks. Welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. Finally, after all of this time, we are finally done with What If, with the 9th and final episode. Next Wednesday will be the first Wednesday that I don't actively dread having to watch a TV show for the sake of this, where it's like, I just didn't want to do it. Because it's like, it's bad when you get to the finale and I'm not like, oh, cool, this finale's happening. And it's so utterly forgettable that I forgot that it was happening, first off, where I get to the point where it's like, I'm on my way to work, I'm like, oh shit, What If had its last episode today? It's Wednesday, I forgot. And I downloaded it then. And then I watched it on my lunch break, and since then, I have mostly forgot about this episode. So I had to watch portions of it again to refresh myself. And I have a few problems with this episode. Number 1, the episode is called What If the Watcher Broke His Oath? And up until the last episode, it wasn't portrayed that the Watcher wouldn't interfere. It was more portrayed that he physically couldn't interfere. And then it wasn't the idea that he's viewing all of this like he's watching a TV show, but ultimately he has the power to reach in and do things. But we didn't need to, I don't think that it was portrayed in a way where we understand that that's, something he opts not to do rather than, physically can't do. And it's there's a big difference between can't do something and won't do something, where it's if he won't do something but he has that power too, then there has to be something big for him to break that urge. And then if it's he can't do something, then that kind of changes things in a way that, this is that big. And even going as far as the Doctor Strange episode, he has a line where it's Doctor Strange sees him and he goes, help me. And the Watcher goes, even if I could, I wouldn't. Where it's implied there that he doesn't even have the power to help. It's outside of his control what happens. He can just watch these worlds. Kind of like Rod Sterling in The Twilight Zone, where it's Rod Sterling can see it and tell you the story, and intro and exit, outro the show, he's not going to step in and interfere despite what he may or may not be able to do. And like, I'm not saying Rod Serling is necessarily a god, but as the writer, the director, and all of that, he ultimately does have the power to to change things. But if he wanted to, he could. But he doesn't have that power. He's a observer and showing you what happens in these worlds when things go wrong. And the fact that the Watcher interferes kind of hurts that. And had this been seasons and seasons and seasons where it's like the Watcher is finally going to break this, oath and step in because something is so big that he's not going to do it, it doesn't make sense to me. Number one, that's that problem. Number two, if this is in continuity with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where it's like, if this is in line with the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, if we are saying that, like, the Watcher will interfere in the event of something so catastrophic it puts the multiverse at risk, if the Watcher doesn't interfere in the future, it takes away, like, oh, well, it's not as bad as Ultron. And then comes, like, who's on this team. Like, I want to see the story of Gamora killing Thanos and taking his armor and being on Sakaar and meeting Tony Stark and them going to Nidavellir. Like, I want to see that story, but we don't see that story. We get Party Thor. And when it comes time to, explain where everyone is, I don't think we needed a backstory for Party Thor. I'm sorry, I really don't. I think you can just say, and here's Thor if he was an asshole, and, bring him in there. And it's like, why is that Thor more useful than the Thor in the mainline movies? If they just brought in Thor as we see him in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, inevitably, after, Endgame and before that, if they bring that Thor in, that would give an explanation as to where he is, like why. Well, we know that Chris Pratt's going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder, but like you have this wide world of characters you can use. You could have done Beta Ray Bill. You could have done so many other things that would have been an interesting alternate for Thor instead of just, what if it was Thor at the least powerful we've seen him? Because that's basically what it is. Because it's what if we took Thor from before his movie, before he learns anything, before he gets power. Because ultimately, without Loki, Thor doesn't go to Jotunheim, fight the Frost Giants, go to Earth, learn humility, then learn to balance that power with humility, learn to take the loss of his mother, learn to work as a team with the Avengers, and then go on his quest to find the Infinity Stones. This is all training of who Thor is to make Thor into the person he is at the end of the movies. We're just taking Thor, like, this is arguably not that big of a threat if it's like, first of all, we don't know what Gamora's power level is. I'm assuming it's Gamora as we see her in the movies, but she has successfully killed Thanos. So she's stronger than Thanos and a better fighter. Alright, cool. All for that. Then, we don't get Tony Stark with his Hulkbuster, made on Sakaar, because that would have been too cool. If we had that instead, would have been awesome. Would have been fine with that. Eric Killmonger as the Black Panther, which is just the bad guy from Black Panther, so he's not as powerful as Black Panther from the Black Panther movie. So, cool. Captain Carter, who is Captain America, but pre-Winter Soldier Captain America. It is not like he gets much stronger. He kind of plateaued in terms of strength. And it's not like Captain America as a character develops any, besides disillusionment with the government and then going on the run and all of that. So, like, that I'm fine with. Star-Lord, functionally. And then Doctor Strange, if he was a god. So, yeah, cool. Like, so then we have this fundamental problem then of, I think that had they just taken Thor from the end of the movies as we saw them, that would have been better, or any other Thor, or, I don't know, anything else. Like, there are so many other options. Like, What about worthy Loki? That would have been cool. What if Loki was worthy of Mjolnir? That would have been cool. And then better alternative to Thor being in this lineup. They couldn't do Jane Foster as Thor because that's reserved for Thor 4. But it like ultimately that's my biggest concern with this is that like a lot of the characters took the least interesting thing, and it's like, and then another thing was like the coolest thing about this show was like for a lot of the episodes the coolest thing was like, and here are the sequels we are setting up, and they're completely glossed over. And it's like, okay, so we don't get to see the Guardians face off again, the alternate Guardians face off against, or the alternate Ravagers face off against Ego. No, we don't get that. Instead, we get to see that briefly and then very quickly ended, and T'Challa gets taken. We don't get to see what happens in Wakanda now that Killmonger's in charge, and you know Shuri is working with Pepper. We don't get to see how that world turns out. It's just Killmonger gets taken. And we'll never get to see that because Killmonger is stuck in this little isolated world. Now, I still think there's a possibility we could see this Doctor Strange go elsewhere. Specifically, No Way Home, maybe. But I don't think that it... See, I think it's going to be one of my other problems is that, like, the Spider-Man movies tend to have weird characterizations of characters and weird takes on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think that could be continued with, like, here's a weird take on Doctor Strange, and it's like, cool, didn't really need this. But, like, that, I still can't find a good reason to like this show, besides the art's really cool. And it's like, visually, it's spectacular. But I don't think that that's enough to carry a show all the way through to its conclusion. And, like, if this wasn't Marvel Studios, I probably wouldn't have watched it. In the same way, I haven't finished Iron Fist, and I haven't watched The Runaways, and I haven't watched The Inhumans, and it's like, you know, if this wasn't something that was with the promise of tying into everything else, I probably would have skipped it. In the way I've skipped all of Marvel's other animated features, except for Into Spider-Verse. But yeah, I don't feel like this show had the grip on it that was interesting enough to warrant watching again. Even like I can sit there and I can think back fondly on like cool moments from like Loki that would make me want to rewatch Loki, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier that'll make me want to rewatch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or even WandaVision, which I think of the live action ones we've gotten so far is the weakest. But there are still a lot of cool moments in that. This, I can think of maybe one, and that would be the Doctor Strange episode, because even the zombie episode was kind of lackluster and kind of, like, cut and dry, where it's like, it doesn't do anything interesting or new. It's the same zombie plot you've seen multiple times, redone with Marvel characters. And it's like, I've seen this so many times in the past, I don't need to watch it again, but this time with a new coat of paint on it. I'm sorry. And it's like, I don't feel like this show executed on the level that a lot of people say it does. Because it's like, it's very hard to find. Like, I went to Rotten Tomatoes to look to see how in the minority I am on this, and it's 93% positive. Audience score 94% out of 2,000 reviews. Now, the audience score is, you know, the law of diminishing returns to an extent, but, I mean, I don't understand how we're at this point where it's like, I feel like those people who, like, back when, what's it called? When DC was having their bad run. And I'm not saying it's aggressively bad, I'm just saying it's aggressively okay. Like, it's kind of like, you know, like, Marvel as a whole is kind of, like, in the same way Pixar, it's like, there is no bad. There's just aggressively meh. Like, Thor: The Dark World, Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, aggressively okay movies. This is the same way. Like, in the same way we look at, like, Pixar, it's like, maybe Cars 2 is bad, but, like, Cars 3 is okay, The Good Dinosaur is just okay, And it's like, at their worst, they're just okay, which is better than most franchises can say. But that said, this is still not a great entry overall. So we'll wrap up there for today. If you feel so inclined to watch What If, the entire show is now streaming on Disney+. Tomorrow, lucky me, I got a 2-hour, 45-minute long entry into James Bond to look forward to. So, yay. And then maybe the Many Saints of Newark this weekend, if I feel like it. I don't know. I haven't felt up to it. So, we'll see. But until then, have a great rest of your week. Do you like the show? Do you hate the show? Are you indifferent to the show? No matter what, you should probably let us know what we're doing so we can change it to better suit you, the listener's needs. You can go to either bit.ly/BOScontact, which is a contact form page you can use. Also, you can just email us directly at 30minutereviews@gmail.com. If you have questions that you would like us to answer, we can answer them on the air. We have a few questions every week that will be selected to be answered on air. So if you want to tell us what we should do, or if you have a suggestion for a movie or a TV show or something we should cover, go to bit.ly/BOScontact and also email us 30minutereviews@gmail.com.